Today we re-diving into one of the most dramatic moments in the Old Testament, when God chooses David to be king while Saul is still on the throne. This story isn't just political or historical, it's deeply psychological. It shows what happens inside a person when insecurity, fear, and comparison take over. So, Saul is king, but he's really struggling. He's disobeyed God, he's anxious, and he's losing his sense of identity. God sends the prophet Samuel to anoint a new king, a young shepherd named David. Now David isn't crowned publicly. He's chosen quietly, behind the scenes. Saul hears the songs, and that's when insecurity begins to completely consume him. Saul's fear quickly turns into jealousy. That jealousy turns into paranoia. Paranoia turns into rage. First, insecurity distorts reality. Saul wasn't just jealous, he was terrified. And fear magnifies threats. It twists how we see people and situations. In mental health terms, this is called cognitive distortion. Things like catastrophizing, mind reading, assuming rejection, and constantly comparing ourselves. Saul saw David as a mortal enemy when David was actually loyal to him. Second, comparison is a silent killer. He measured his entire worth against someone else's success. Today, comparison leads to so many issues: anxiety, depression, low self-esteem, imposter syndrome, and social withdrawal. Saul completely forgot his own calling and purpose because he was obsessed with David's. Third, unprocessed emotions become dangerous. But unprocessed emotions don't disappear. They leak out in other ways, as anger, a need for control, intense jealousy, constant irritability, and emotional outbursts. Saul didn't need a new enemy. He needed emotional healing. Now let's look at David, because he shows us how to stay grounded. David wasn't perfect, not by a long shot, but he handled pressure completely differently. He stayed connected to God. He stayed connected to his community and his friends. And he didn't let Saul's insecurity define him. David teaches us a powerful lesson. Emotional honesty is strength, not weakness. Another key lesson from David is that your calling doesn't require someone else's failure. David never tried to take Saul's throne. He waited. He served. He trusted God's timing. In mental health terms, this is what we call emotional maturity. It's about not forcing outcomes, not constantly competing with others, not rushing your identity, and not letting someone else's fear shape your behavior. David didn't need Saul to fall for him to rise. Maybe you feel a bit like Saul, feeling insecure, overlooked, or threatened by someone else's success. Or maybe you're somewhere in between. Wherever you are, this ancient story reminds us of some timeless truths. Insecurity can be healed, the cycle of comparison can be broken, and your true identity can be restored. Emotional honesty leads to freedom. And you don't have to let fear rule your life. If this message encouraged you today, share it with someone you know who might be battling insecurity or comparison. And remember, your calling is secure, even when your emotions aren't. Thanks for watching.